Hello, everyone, and welcome to
Watching Twin Peaks for the first time.
The Return.
The Return. Oh my goodness, has it been a day of making and watching Twin Peaks content?
Yes, because we've been watching the missing pieces.
Yes. We're not even done.
We didn't finish all of the missing pieces, but we
had to start.
We wanted to jump in and watch the first 2 episodes.
Oh my goodness.
Of Twin Peaks: The Return.
Yeah.
Now this is Mackenzie's first time watching Twin Peaks: The Return. It's
almost your first time.
It feels like the first time. Because as I mentioned before, I really rushed through watching these, and I was just intent on like what happened to Dale Cooper.
Yeah.
And I was a cheapskate watching it on Showtime for 1 week, and so I just crunched it into a short viewing. So a lot of times I was going like, I don't know what happened or what any of this means. So I will be talking about, I guess, my second impressions of
Almost
this. Almost first. And you'll be talking about your first impressions, and we'll meld them together, and I will do my very best not to give what little I remember. I will try not to give things away as we go. So let's talk about your first impressions of what's it like seeing some of the same cast members 25 years older.
I like it. Now here's the weird thing about it is that it's not the same as watching Twin Peaks. You know what I mean? Like you're not in the same place. You're separated from the characters. You're not following one story. They show you Doc in the first, that's the first thing you see. And not even touched on that since then.
Do you remember what he was doing?
He bought 5 shovels. Oh my goodness, that was so scary. It's Lizzie.
Yeah, I know it's Lizzie. It's our dog.
I was waiting for someone to come out though. There she is.
Thanks, Lizzie.
So he buys 4 shovels, and the delivery guy's like, "How you doing? You know, same old. Absolutely not." I can't remember what he says exactly.
If Dr. Jacoby didn't have his 3D glasses,
I would not have known.
You would not have known.
I was like, "Oh, an old man? Yeah, that makes sense to me. Who's that?
Yeah.
Is that Hank? I don't know. Is it Cooper? I don't know. I'm not sure."
So back to what's different to you in tone and style.
Yeah. So the tone is much more somber, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's also a lot more dramatic. It takes itself more seriously.
Okay.
There's still a lot of funny moments, but it's a lot more serious. Like maybe it's just me, but I feel like I'm trying to morally wrap my head around the idea of doppelgangers. And their thing of there can only be one out of the lodge at the time. So I feel with Leland it's a little bit different because Bob was in Leland, but with Cooper it's not the same. You know what I mean?
So when I waited 25 years to see this, and by the way, I didn't even think it was going to exist.
Yeah.
So, but for decades, I was often daydreaming about what happened to Dale Cooper. Is Dale Cooper stuck in the lodge? Yeah. That he's after Fire Walk with Me, right? They hint that he's still in the lodge.
Yeah.
And so when I found out that they were going to make this new Twin Peaks season, then I was just joyfully excited, but also just kind of wondering what will they do, because they left it.
What is it?
Yeah. So if they had done, Twin Peaks season 3 the next year, then it would probably be Sheriff Truman and Hawk would figure out something's wrong with Dale. And then probably by the end of that season, they'd be able to save Dale. But this has been 25 years of some incarnation of Dale Cooper, or a Dale Cooper doppelganger.
Right.
That has been out causing sort of mayhem and wickedness, and an evil, diabolical presence has been in there. So it kind of seems like instead of having a mystery where it's like, oh, what happened to Laura Palmer that we get in Twin Peaks, we're basically trying to see what's going to happen to Dale Cooper in the lodge.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and of course, as with most things with David Lynch, we're also trying to figure out.
There's so many other things.
What does this mean? How are we supposed to interpret it?
Yeah.
And things like that.
Also, I'm a little sad. There's no Nadine yet.
We haven't seen Nadine yet the first 2 episodes. So let's talk about some of the things that happen, and we'll get your interpretation.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw in my 2 cents. But everybody wants to find out what Mackenzie. People don't want to know it. Some old, old guy.
They want to know what you think.
So it starts off now. Before we see Dr. Jacoby,
yeah.
we do see something before that.
We do.
Do you remember what the very first thing we see?
Do we see the guy in the room? It's so distracting with the door.
We see the giant.
That's right. We see Giant and Dale.
And it's black and white.
And there's like
Giant
a...
and Dale.
Yeah.
Yeah. An old-fashioned record player.
But also, okay, here's an interesting thing. The arm, the electric tree flash man.
Yes.
He makes a noise and it sounds like the record player. His new noise.
Gotcha.
His evolved noise sounds like
his noise used to be like
and now it's like
now it sounded to me like he has false teeth and he's like
yeah, which sounded like the record player, I thought.
Okay, so that's good. So and that's what the giant says, listen to the sounds.
Yeah.
And then there's the little kind of scratching sounds.
Yeah.
Any guess on what that is?
Well, he talks about like it's in our house now.
Yes, that's what I also wrote it down. He says it is in our house now, and then he says, I think he asked them to remember the number 4:30.
4:30.
He says Richard and Linda, 2 birds with 1 stone. And I don't think in the first 2 episodes, I don't think in the first 2 episodes that we've seen a Richard and Linda yet.
No, we haven't. I don't think so. Unless.
And I don't think that the numbers 4:30 have come up yet.
No.
430.
In fact,
other numbers have
20 has come up.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
So, but it is in our house now. What do you think that is?
Now that makes me feel like a chess term. I don't know that has anything to do with it, but that's what I thought of. Because it's like, oh, it's our turn now. Like we waited long enough. It's in our house.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's in our court
kind of thing. It's in our court kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's in our house now.
Yeah.
Meaning that now we can do something.
Now we are able to.
Now the White Lodge or something good.
Right.
If the giant is part of the White Lodge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was kind of interpreting it as as in like whatever the evil presence is.
Yeah.
Is in our house now. And maybe something to do with whatever the shadowy creature is in the box. Something about remember like the bug kind of drawing?
Bug. Oh yeah, it's basically like
it's like the ring symbol. Right?
Yeah.
It's like the ring symbol.
Except it's bigger.
It's got a bigger head.
So the weird thing about that is that he chose was it the Ace of Diamonds? No. It's the Ace of...
I think Ace of Spades.
Spades.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like the spade almost already looks like the symbol. But he was like about to draw it on there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like about to just add the lines and he just went, fuck you. I don't know why I swore.
You mean he just like took a Sharpie
really
or whatever?
Went at it. Yeah. And it's also torn up on both sides. There's little dents in the card. Like I feel like he drew it.
And he was asking Daria if she'd seen that. By the way, we're bouncing around.
We are. We're
because
in the second
we just watched 2 episodes, and it's mind-bending
it's
stuff.
They're both hours worth.
We're watching it with my wife Sherry, who enjoyed watching the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks, and the
return,
and
not the movie.
Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah,
but now she's like, I don't like Dale.
I mean, it's fair. I don't like Dale either. He's kind of
Mr. Well, let's call him Mr. C. Remember, they call him Mr. C.
Mr. C.
So
and Cooper.
There's Dale Cooper and then Mr. C.
But are they morally?
Well, that's the thing. Is do you think that
is Dale?
What do you think? Let me get your prediction.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen next? Right. So Dale, the last time we saw at the end of episode 2, Dale is falling, and it looked like Mike was trying to get him, and the arm, it seemed like it was trying to get.
The arm seems to have been made good.
Yeah. Well, there's a doppelganger arm too. So anyway, so Mike and the arm seem to be trying to get Dale Cooper out. So like, time for you to get it to it's
in our house now.
So it's time for you to go. And but you need to have a doppelganger. The doppelganger needs to come back in so you can get out.
Yeah.
And then he was trying to get out. Bob or Dale Cooper, evil Dale Cooper, the doppelganger, had said, "It's like, I got a plan."
Right.
So I'm guessing that that's part of the plan.
I think maybe that's probably part of his plan.
Dale Cooper just got lost and stuck.
Like, no.
Yeah. I mean, the doppelganger arm.
Yeah.
That
looks like a corn pop.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was a stick of gum. Like chewed up gum.
Interesting.
Right? That gum you like.
A little corn pop.
At first, I thought it was a little brain.
Yeah.
You think it's corn pop? Going back to this? So, what's your prediction? What do you think is going to happen with Dale Cooper in the waiting room or wherever he is, the Black Lodge? And what do you think will happen with Mr. C, the evil twin?
I feel that in order for this story to work in the way that I wanted to, as a viewer, which, here's the thing, I fully understand that it might throw my expectations and hopes for storytelling into my face, and I'll just be like, great, fantastic, awesome.
I kind of feel like David Lynch would like, tell me exactly what you want to happen. Yeah. I'll make sure it does not happen.
It will not happen.
Anyway, so what do you want to happen for this story to be satisfying for you?
What I want to happen is I want Dale, the good Dale, to be released in some capacity, which he already is kind of a little bit, right? He was in the little glass box.
He's in a different place now.
He's in a different place. So that's exciting for him. And because in that regards, then it's like, oh, there's 2 Dales? Okay, the authorities don't have to arrest Dale when he comes out of the Black Lodge.
So you're worried that the soul of Dale Cooper will kind of arrive in his own body,
like a new thing, like not the body he was in before.
Okay,
like probably a body that looks like Dale. So there's 2 Dales. That's my hope.
So that's your hope. Your hope is that there's going to be.
My hope is 2 Dales.
You're hoping for
because 2 Dales. Here's the issue: if there's not 2 Dales. 1, Dale gets out, and then, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, we gotta arrest Dale.
Yeah.
Or Dale gets out, tells them, and they trust him, and that's absolutely incorrect. That's not.
Gotcha. So
the only way this works out is 2 Dales.
So if Dale Cooper's spirit returns to his physical form,
right.
Like if the doppelganger, is in Dale Cooper's physical form,
right?
Kind of like we assume that Leland and Bob were.
Yeah.
So if Dale Cooper returns to his form,
and he's like, I gotta tell the police.
It's like, oh well, I need to explain what happened. Tell the police,
and they believe
that I was in a Black Lodge. I didn't do any of these killings. I exorcised the demon, and they got like, good to have you back, Dale.
Good to have you back. See, that would be very frustrating to me, and I would hate that. That would not be a successful story for me.
Okay, you would not be able.
But I would watch it.
Yeah,
but I would also be like, oh God. The authorities again making the wrong decisions.
So you want to?
I want the authorities to win.
You want the authorities to be more like what you think the authorities should be. Really?
Yeah. So, they shouldn't just be like, "Oh, you think you were somewhere else, and you are saying that you didn't do these crimes that somebody else did? All right, we'll trust you."
Okay.
After 25 years of killing and
doing bad underground crime things. What did you think of the scene with the guy watching the glass box and Tracy? I think the credit said his name was Sam. So Sam and Tracy. And what happens to them?
They get chopped. They get sliced and diced.
The fruit ninja moves on to humans.
The spirit of the fruit ninja. Oh no! Right. Every time you play the game.
What do you think that? Oh, so if we add parts 1 and 2 together, then the sequence of events that happens with Sam and Tracy is that Sam goes out to see what's going on. Tracy, there's no guard there.
Yeah,
which is kind of a little suspicious.
Odd.
Tracy's out there with the coffee.
Yeah.
My wife thought Tracy was going to be like a hit woman.
I also did not trust her.
They were like, Tracy's going to kill everybody, break into the room. But Tracy seems like she's nice. Like Tracy has a crush on Sam. Sam likes her too.
Yeah.
And it's showtime, so they take off some clothes.
I don't trust the way she's like, let me into the secret
I know,
things.
it's pretty. She's like...
I want to get into the secret thing.
But she's so not subtle about it that it's not very spy-like. Anyway.
I know, but he's dumb.
Yeah.
Little Sam.
Well, it's just a college job for him. What am I trying to say?
You're trying to talk us through the actual
he leaves the room, sees her, and they're checking things out, whether the guard. So while that happens, Dale Cooper floats in, which is one of my favorite scenes.
I love his
So he floats in. The boxes shrink down,
right.
and it gets pushed out into oblivion or who knows where again. And then, so soon after that, the two lovebirds come in,
like,
and then there's the shadows happen in the box, and then there's that strange figure. So what do you think that is?
Okay, so here's my theory. We know that the arm can evolve, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is that this is the next evolution of Bob. Because it seems to have the same kind of motives of purity and cleanliness.
Okay. It is interesting that the arm does, like they talk about.
They're like, it's a new form.
This is the evolution.
Yeah.
So these spirits or whatever they are changing.
Yeah. And that makes sense for.
And it is interesting thinking of Bob as something that's changing.
Yeah.
So if you think it's an evolution of Bob, is the doppelganger not Bob?
The doppelganger is not Bob.
The doppelganger is not Bob.
Doppelganger.
So what's doppelganger, Mr. C?
Okay, here's my weird theory. Doppelganger, Mr. C, is all of the terrible parts of Cooper magnified to an extreme.
Okay, so kind of going back to the shadow self.
Yes.
That Hawk talks about, like you face in the Black Lodge.
It's basically his left arm.
Gotcha.
If we're gonna go with that, it's his left arm.
And we know that the left is the sinister side.
Yes.
So
and that's the side he keeps shooting in the face.
That's right. Yeah. What do you think of the eyes that are getting shot out?
That's impressive.
Like Nadine.
It's really impressive. I hope Nadine has something.
Do you think that there's like a connection with that?
I hope so.
Something?
Oh man, do I hope that Nadine has some part of the story left to tell.
Yeah. I'm not going to give anything away.
Don't give it away. I want to find out.
But we do see Benjamin Horn.
We do.
And his brother
so
Jerry.
Happy.
Jerry looks like a fun guy.
Jerry does look like a fun guy. Are you wearing Mom's hat?
Right.
So good. He's like, are you sleeping with her? He's like,
do you remember if there's any plot point aspect of seeing Benjamin Horn again?
They talk about a hotel. They talk about a hotel room.
They talk about there's a skunk that was on the other side of the hotel room. And so he's just kind of doing like the daily management. Yeah. And then Jerry comes in and he's talking about basically, I think it's marijuana infused waffles or something, whatever he's eating.
With jam.
Yeah.
Toast and jam, I think is what it was.
So they're just kind of talking.
Yeah.
And then there's
I like
Benjamin Horn's assistant.
Yes.
Who I believe is played by Ashley Judd.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the weird thing about the plot question.
Yeah.
They talk about, are you sleeping with her? No, she's married. Henceforth, that would be cheating on her spouse, right? And it'd be cheating on his spouse.
Yeah.
And then we see a couple, because the woman who gets her head cut off and the body.
Yeah.
Then we see a couple that are both cheating on each other. Like we later find out. So I feel like it's just priming us for like, and they're cheating.
The idea of like infidelity.
Right.
So do you think, Benjamin Horn, when we last saw him, he had been
punched in the face.
He'd been thrown against the wall or in the fireplace by Doc Hayward. Who apparently didn't get any repercussions legally with that.
Yeah, because he just went right on into Dale's room.
Do you think Benjamin Horn is still good? Remember, he was like pursuing goodness?
I think so.
Is he still pursuing goodness?
I think so.
Do you think his daughter Audrey is dead?
Yes.
I'm writing these notes down.
Well, okay, that's a weird question. Because I feel like they're holding that information from us right now, and I feel like, because there was no indication of like dead or alive.
Yeah, there's never like, gosh, I sure miss Audrey. It's been 25 years. Right, they're just, and they've gotten, but it makes sense. If she's dead, they wouldn't talk about her every day 25 years later.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I feel like I think there's a chance she's still alive.
Okay.
I'm not 100% on her being dead. Although, it would be a little bit fun if she was dead. Does that make sense?
It would be fun if she was dead.
Yeah, like a little bit, oh, that's so sad. Kind of fun. Like in a story, what? That doesn't make any sense.
No, I mean, there's a lot of sad things that happen in Twin Peaks. So I could see there's like, let's have some more tragedy.
A little bit more.
Some more tragedy.
A little bit
All right. So you're leaning towards her probably dead.
Probably dead.
Probably dead. Okay. Probably.
Is she story dead? Maybe not. Story dead meaning like maybe ghost? Maybe a little ghost would?
Okay. So you think that she might be a ghost spirit?
Yes.
Something like that?
Possible. That's like
I want to write something down.
Okay.
I want to write down your prediction.
Write down maybe ghost. Probably dead.
Okay. Prob dead, maybe ghost. That's my shorthand.
Prob dead, maybe ghost.
But now, if it's either one of those, you don't really.
But if she's alive.
Okay, so if she's alive, then you got it wrong.
If she's alive, I'm wrong.
So you're hedging your bets.
Okay.
Right? So it's probably dead.
She's probably that's my answer.
It's probably dead. So if she's dead, then it's like, aha. Okay. And if she's a ghost, it's like, hey, I said that could happen. I said it could happen. And if she's alive, it's like, oh, I was wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So we get to see Lucy again, and she's still working at the sheriff's office. And the insurance man shows up.
Yeah.
And is trying to find out. He wants to talk to the Sheriff Truman. And she says, "Which one do you want?" Of them. One's sick, one's fishing.
Yeah.
And then the insurance man runs away and
he's about to turn into a little one-armed man.
Yeah. You were thinking that he's on the same kind of medication that.
Like he's probably not the same. He's probably not one-armed man, but I feel like he's probably a little bit needs some of that.
Okay.
Keep him going.
So why do you suppose they haven't shown the sheriff, and what do you think is going on with the mentioning the two Sheriff Trumans?
Yeah. So I kind of feel like, okay, this is kind of a stretch. Mm-hmm. However, I feel as if our sheriff that we know,
Sheriff Harry Truman.
Mm-hmm. I think he got married to a person who already had a son or daughter.
Okay.
And those two people became sheriffs. And Harry died.
Okay. So that's
a lot.
That is yes. Based upon like just an insurance salesman kind of. So Harry died, and his stepson and daughter became the next Sheriff Truman.
No, I think it's his wife who's also a sheriff.
So Mrs.
Truman
is
and
Sheriff 1.
Junior Truman is Sheriff 2.
So wife and stepson.
Yeah. That's a stretch.
I like these.
But however, I am going off of Dale Cooper's far out there intuition. I'm just gonna throw a rock.
Gotcha. Just throwing a rock out there. One of the things I like about this is that the Kyle MacLachlan, the performance is great. It's got the voice.
It's cool. I like it.
It's pretty freaky. Job. The scene with Daria, where in episode 2, part 2 of The Return, where she's on the bed and she's like, "Are you going to kill me?" Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah," and he's just saying yes. And there's there's like nothing that she can do to escape at that point.
Except maybe, not have given them the gun. Well, I guess that's like a nothing you can do.
But at that, like once they're on the bed and he's like got her arms around her. Like then she doesn't seem to have the
capability,
the martial arts skills to get out of there.
Yeah.
He does say things like, "Hey, if you give me this information, it could save your life." But I think
But I don't even think she has that.
I don't think she has the information, and I don't think that
just kind of teasing.
I don't think she could trick her way out, so she's just kind of doomed, and it's really kind of disturbing.
It's sad. Okay, can we talk about the murder of the woman that he was cheating, like the principal was cheating on his wife with, and the man's body?
So we discover.
I'm thinking about that more.
Her head is in the bed. And then there's the large man, who's been decapitated, and we don't know where his head is. Did Dale Cooper's doppelganger do that?
So I think that he might have a hand in it, because here's the weird thing: is I think that it's actually the wife of the principal.
So Phyllis.
So
Phyllis,
I think, killed the woman. I think she killed Ruth. I think she shot her under the help of Dale Cooper, under the help of Agency or Mr. C.
Gotcha.
And I think so. The husband says, "I know you've been sleeping with our lawyer, and also maybe others."
Mm-hmm.
I think that she killed the girl, the librarian. I think that the husband killed the man.
Okay.
And I think that Dale Cooper kind of convinced both of them to do those things.
So, because Phyllis sees, when she sees the doppelganger, she's like, "What are you doing here?" She kind of has a smile on her face, like she's sort of pleasantly surprised, like, "I didn't expect to see you here."
I think she's been sleeping with him. And I think that Dale Cooper has actually worked his way into...
The doppelganger.
The doppelganger. Has worked his way into the principal's...
So you say that the principal may have killed the guy.
Yeah. Which to me feels like a little symbolism.
Yeah.
Because they're both in the same bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if they're both connected to the spouse of the person who killed them, and Dale Cooper brought both of those bodies into the same place, like I don't think either one of those people had the ability or the perseverance, shall we say, to cut off someone's head. Because both bodies had the heads cut off. So the
doppelganger may have done the nasty work there.
Yeah. Because they didn't look like they died from those injuries.
And so what do you think, what's their... So these humans and this doppelganger are mixed up in this weird thing. What do you think the doppelganger is trying to accomplish?
I think just ruin.
Just ruin. He's just ruining lives? Yeah,
because like Mom was saying when we were watching it, she's like, if you ever get in this situation, don't lie, just tell the truth. And she's kind of right. Like, they can't put you in jail.
When the principal's talking to the detective.
Yeah. They can't put you in jail for cheating on your wife.
Yeah.
And so, I think Mr. C, Mr. C, I think is able to kind of use the lies that they've already been telling to just kind of make the bridge to murder a lot easier and just ruin both of their lives.
Okay. So it's like an agent of evil.
Yeah. And also like, okay, so she dies and we know that Bob likes to kill women.
Yeah. And
she's blonde. She's blonde. And maybe that's a little bit like stretching it, but like she's blonde.
Sure. Right? And he says, the doppelganger says, like, George's gun. Yeah. That's the lawyer. So the implication is, I'm going to make it look like George killed you.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to ruin every single person in the situation.
And when she gets shot in that scene, there's that weird little... but there's that glitch, right? She turns around, kind of starts to run. She gets shot, and there's like a weird glitch.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You were saying, like, was she
tripping into
the Black Lodge or something like that?
Yeah. That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just damning all of them. Just like, haha, gotcha. Like, it's just one of his little tricks that he's been doing for the last 25 years, where he's able to frame three people at the same time. So you think that he's probably
just been going around to different places, getting people
framed.
So kind of like a devil character. Yeah. That's tempting people and ruining people and things, tainting their souls. One more thing about that scene, I was fascinated when the doppelganger tells her before he kills her, it's like, you did good. You follow human nature perfectly.
Yeah. It's interesting. Now, like, when Agency, I keep wanting to call him Agency. Can I just call him Agency?
Agency.
Agency. So when Agency is about to kill her, right? He's like, oh, follow human nature perfectly. And when we think about, like, what does he think human nature is? Because he must think of it as, like, the opposite of the 10 Commandments. You know, like, just like, oh, everything those things are, like, governing, basically, morally. He's like,
human nature is the opposite of those things.
Human nature is the opposite. Instead of, like, oh, here's some human things to keep you in line. It's like, actually, no. Murder, adultery, pride, gluttony,
Talking about the sins now, 7 sins and the 10 Commandments.
I don't know.
It's okay. They're all bad things, right?
Yeah, they go against human nature, but they're also a little bit human nature, if that makes sense.
Here's another thing I don't remember, so we can theorize about this. That Mr. Todd guy is like, he hands some money to an assistant, says something about like, tell her that she has the job. Yeah. And I don't know who they're talking about.
I feel like they're talking about somebody who's going to take over watching that little box.
Oh, yeah?
That's what I thought.
I didn't know if it was something like Daria or a new Daria or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
And the guy says, like, I just have to ask you something, Mr. Todd. Like, why do you do these things for him?
Why do you let yourself do these things for him?
Yeah. And he just says, like, never get involved with someone like him.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because if he's just an assistant, he's kind of already involved with whoever this person is. Do you think that he's asking Mr. Todd, why are you doing these things for the Doppelganger? Or
I think it's the box.
I think it's the box.
I think it's the box. I think it's that little scary demon guy that comes out of the box and kills those people.
So Mr. Todd works for the demon inside the box?
I think that he works
for whoever. Like, who do you think? Who do you think is the so-called billionaire?
I think he's the billionaire.
Okay, so Mr. Todd's the billionaire.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna film these people dying, and I'm gonna film this thing happening inside of this box because I want to know. It's dark curiosity, and I know something's bad's gonna happen. That's why I'm not gonna watch it. Oh. But I want someone else to. I want to see it happen, and I need victims for it.
So you think that's interesting. So you think Mr.
Because
Todd
I felt like it's a new version of Bob. Falls in line with my idea of the box demon being Bob, or the next version of Bob, because Leland does that for Bob. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Leland's like, oh yeah, okay, we'll do this for you, Bob. We're gonna destroy my daughter for you, Bob. And so it's like, why do you let him do that?
Yeah.
You just don't do that. Don't enable him. But the billionaire and Leland go, no, actually, I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. But they act like they don't have a choice. Yeah. Leland's like, don't ever get involved.
So does the billionaire get, if your theory is true, does the billionaire get some kind of
euphoria?
Euphoria from it? Or is it more of like giving into fear, or? That's
a good question. I don't think he knows.
Okay. Mr. C kills Jack after massaging his face for a long time. Apparently, at least he says he killed it. He kills Daria. Now he's looking for Ray. But he finds out that someone, at least that's going by the name Jeffries, Philip Jeffries.
Yes.
You know him as David Bowie.
David Bowie. Special Agent David Bowie.
So he's basically saying, hey, tomorrow I'm supposed to be back in the Black Lodge.
Right.
But I'm not going to.
I'm not going back.
I've got a plan.
Yeah.
And he's kind of in communication with Jeffries.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't get the answers. And Jeffrey says something interesting because he says, he's like, you're going back in the lodge and I'm going to be with Bob.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Philip Jeffries, David Bowie wants to be with Bob.
Yeah, like he's kind of
like he was hanging around in the convenience store with those guys.
Yeah.
And
like, this is actually pretty
and
good.
now he's like drawn in, so he wants to be a part of it.
Right. But I also don't know that that's
we don't know that's
Jeffrey?
We don't know because
he says Jeffrey
he
and
says,
then Jeffrey never says.
This is Philip Jeffries, right?
Yeah.
And there's not an answer.
He's like, actually, I'm not allowed to answer that. That's what
Let me ask you this. Is there any chance that Wyndham Earl still exists and is either the Doppelganger or some aspect of the Black Lodge?
Mr. C.
Wyndham Earl.
That's a good question.
But when we were watching the last episode of season 2, and Bob says like, "Oh, he can't make that. He can't make that claim here. He can't take your soul here, but I'll take his soul." And like does that. And then Dale Cooper's like, "Whoa, this is scary," like horrifying.
Like, I'm just gonna run.
And so then he gets out, and then that's when the Doppelganger comes out.
Right.
So it's like after
Wyndham
Earl's been turned into goo or whatever.
maybe he's been turned into corn.
Then a doppelganger. Yeah. Then a doppelganger comes in.
Right.
And again, it could be it's like, yeah, that's your shadow self. But it could also be, hey, let's take Wyndham Earl,
and
who's got a lot of capable, deadly things,
and put him over there.
Kind of repurpose him as this doppelganger.
That's interesting. So here's my theory on that a little bit. I think that the idea of that is kind of correct, but big brain time. Dale's biggest fear isn't Wyndham Earl. It's what Wyndham Earl means.
Okay.
It's more of like Wyndham Earl is when an agent just chooses evil. Yeah. They wake up and they're like, violence today. And I think he's afraid of that mostly because of himself. He falls in love with the same woman Wyndham Earl falls in love with. And he does the same job. He copies Wyndham Earl in a lot of ways. He really, really looks up to him. And then he turns out to be this murderer. Yeah. And so I think Dale Cooper is like, is that me?
Could I become that?
Yeah.
And so the shadow self
is the representation of what Wyndham Earl means. So maybe part of him's in there, but it's not the reason why Dale's afraid and running. It's because he can't face being that. If that makes sense.
No, that does make sense. That's very, very astute. And in a more practical sense, it's probably not Wyndham Earl because Mr. C doesn't have the flair that Wyndham Earl does.
He's got the bob look. Yeah. He's got the long hair.
This guy's not going to he's not going to be in theatrical disguises.
Oh no, absolutely not. So there's no need for that.
There's no Wyndham Earl personality. Yeah. But I do kind of wish that Wyndham Earl would have a place somewhere, but maybe
that's kind of where the chess analogy came in for me when there's like it's in my house.
It's in my house. Yeah. Oh, so we saw Leland Palmer again.
Oh yeah,
what'd you think of that?
He's so cute. I like the actor. I don't know.
Ray Wise.
He's like
nice
he's
job.
just like
he's just sitting there. He says find. He says find Laura. Yeah. So is his soul in the waiting room?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. So let's talk about Laura. So Laura, I loved seeing the reenactment of their scene together, and she's leaning in, whispering some kind of secret. Yeah, giving him a kiss again.
Steps.
Basically saying you can go now. Yeah. We see at the end of Fire Walk with Me, right? She's with Dale Cooper. Yeah. And she ends up looking up and she sees the angel that has come to help her, and she's weeping with joy.
Weeping with joy. Hopefully,
according to the missing pieces. Yeah. So she's weeping with joy. And here she looks up and then starts screaming. Yeah. It's always scary when Laura Palmer screams, right?
You gotta have it in every show.
So shaky cam screaming, and then
she's just like
she's whooshed away.
Wiggles her way out of
she's whooshed away, and then the curtains kind of peel away. Yeah. And we see the horse.
Right.
What's going on there?
Don't trust a horse. Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like Laura's at peace. You know what I mean? But there's also...
It seemed like she was at peace. Yeah. It seemed like she was coming back to help him.
Yeah, and now it seems like he's supposed to be helping her again.
Well, he says find Laura. Yeah. I mean, Leland says find Laura.
That would imply... Wait. Yeah. Not find Laura as in you need to help Laura. Laura as in the angel Laura, who can lead you out of this place. Oh. So find Laura not as like, you need to help my daughter, but as like I found Laura. Because he looks kind of cute in this. Yeah. When he's sitting in that chair, he's like, find Laura. Like, maybe it's like, find Laura for like the purpose of being free.
Gotcha. For your own salvation.
Find Laura.
Find Laura. But so when she's whisked away, do you think that her soul is in danger, or that it's meant to be misleading?
I think it's probably meant to be misleading. Okay. I think Laura works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So does that horse.
Have talked about how the idea we've talked about the idea of entering and exiting the Black Lodge or the Red Room as traumatic. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Philip Jeffries.
Yeah. I guess he does kind of do that when he enters back into that in the deleted scene. Yeah. When he enters back in, he's like shaken and there's black stuff. Yeah. And she's wearing a black dress. So possibly when she goes back to her nice little happy place,
Yeah.
It's painful.
So maybe traversing to wherever she traverses to, because I think to most people, like when I was watching it, it was like, oh, well, like my wife.
Yeah, well.
Sherry, my wife Sherry was saying, like, hasn't she been through enough?
Yeah, and it looks dramatic.
It's a good point. It's like, why is Laura still being in danger, or
I don't know that she's in danger though.
I don't know. Well, so. I keep going back to the Fire Walk with Me. We've got this ending where
she's crying.
It's like she's at. It feels like she's at peace. It's like whatever goodness is in the universe is at work, and it's working for her, and it's come to give her peace.
Yeah,
it's come to love has come to envelop her.
Right.
That's how I want her. The story of her soul to end. Yeah, because she's been through so much,
and it's not fair.
Yeah,
it is interesting. She says, like, I'm not Laura. I'm Laura Palmer.
Yeah.
So in the song, because I like that song.
Oh, let's talk about this. So let's talk now about the ending of part 2.
Yeah.
So
with Sad Boy James.
So Sad Boy James is back. Yeah, we see Sad Boy James, and he looks happy.
He does look a little happy. He looks a little forlorn, but he's a little happy.
Yeah. And he's with his friend who has
a missing left hand. That's pretty fun and neat.
And
is it a left hand? It might be a right hand.
Like, you think it's a green prosthetic?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like some weird glove, but it looks like a prosthetic.
Anyway, it's strange. strange green hand man.
Yeah. Just put his hand in
going to the roadhouse. And you were listening to the lyrics of the song that's playing.
Yeah.
And what did you get from the lyrics?
So the lyrics are basically, if you want to look at it this way, the lyrics basically just tell the story of Laura's relationship to James. And so I think in the next episode, we're probably going to focus more on James, Sad Boy James. And possibly our girl.
We see Shelley.
Maybe Shelley. So I feel like they sing the song and it's like, you didn't know me. We went for a drive for the last time. All the lights were turning off. I pretended I was going to run away with you. Or I pretended we were going to run away. But you only knew me from a picture.
Yeah.
You took me out of a picture frame. You didn't know me. We're strangers for the last time. So it's like those kind of sentiments. I don't think that I'm spot on.
I think that you. I think it's good to pay attention to the lyrics of these songs, and we probably should have been doing it a little more so with the first.
There's that
couple
song
seasons of Twin Peaks
where they're like doing the drivey drive.
Yeah.
In the first one, but I didn't pay attention that much either because it was like deep. I think it was probably about.
And I think that there's a few more times. This isn't giving too much away. I hope. Okay. I think there's a few more times where we're hearing people sing like towards the end. I think that happens a couple times. And so here's what I didn't see or remember when I watched it, and it seems like Jacques Renault
is in the back.
I think that Jacques Renault, who's got a white beard, he's quite old. He's older now.
He looks like Jacques Renault.
It looks like he's tending bar.
It looks like he's
tending bar.
It looks like Jacques Renault is alive.
One, I don't know if it's Jacques Renault.
Yeah.
Like, we could just be.
I don't know.
We could be
going with my little brain.
It could be Jacques Renault, and he's like, "Hey, David, come on. Nobody will notice. Let me just be an extra in the background." Yeah. It could also be the actor playing a different character.
Yes, that's true.
And it could be like Jacques Renault's other brother, like his fourth brother or whatever. Yeah. But if David Lynch is putting Jacques Renault him in the bar, and I never noticed this until I watched it again tonight. Yeah. Is that when James comes in, he's like looking at the girl, and Shelley's going like, "Oh no, he's cool. James was always cool." But he also says he was in a bike accident and he's a little bit quiet. Yeah. It's like, what if James is like, what if everybody's dead?
Everybody just died? It's just a Lost?
They're like Lost. They're pulling a Lost.
And just everyone's dead?
Well, because Jacques Renault's in the bar.
What if the bar's filled with dead people?
And James said,
just the bar.
Just the bar.
I can agree with that.
Oh, not the whole show.
Not the whole show.
Yeah, because that'd be weird. If,
that'd be what's the
why are the detectives solving this? Yeah, so everyone in the bar, we'll say. We'll go with that theory and see what happens.
Like that theory. I
don't think it's gonna work because I think Shelley is in other places.
I would assume James is also in other places.
I can't remember.
And I want to know more about the Green Man.
Yeah, so it's probably not going to work. But
I like it.
But if it was a short story and they said like, "Oh, he was in an accident.
He was dead for 30 years.
He was in an accident, and he's quiet now.
He's quiet.
Very quiet.
And so quiet, nobody can hear it except me.
So, what feelings did the original series of Twin Peaks make you feel, and what feelings is this show making you feel?
Okay. Both shows have made me feel frustrated so far. With this one, I'm actually now okay. I think the intention of the first part of the series, like the first 2 seasons, it's like this is fun, wacky, cool kind of comedy. Look at Nadine doing crazy stuff. Look at Andy, he's dumb. Like, look at all these things. And this one's a lot more serious. I'm gonna be honest. I like this season more
because it's like, let's get to it.
Well, it's also like we're finally in a battle against evil. We're not just like, yeah, no worries, don't talk to me about it.
Okay, let's just block everything out.
At least Shelley's like, my daughter doesn't seem very happy. People are facing facts finally, and I'm about it.
All right,
like Ben's like Jerry's up front asking, "Are you sleeping with this woman?" Yeah. That's very upfront of him. Before he would have been like, "Do you want to go?"
So the blinders are
off, and I'm about it. Nice. It makes me much more like I know it's probably not supposed to be making me this happy.
No, I'm glad it is.
But I like it more. Like it's more satisfying to have the blinders off and not everybody going like, "Yeah, Laura died. Don't look at her father. Don't look over there." Don't look at her close family members or boyfriends. Don't look there, apparently.
Okay.
So I just feel better that we're finally fighting against evil. Good versus evil.
I like that. So you see it as more of like an open battle.
Yeah.
Rather than
evil
casting sort of denial among people. Cool.
What do you think?
I think
it's frustrating. Both of them are frustrating.
Well, I've been thinking of The Return as like I don't know exactly how to group the entire series and the movie all together in a working formula right now.
I think we're waking up.
But there's something about The Return that makes me think that that the original Twin Peaks was delivering messages about basically abuse.
Yeah.
So and how abuse takes this form, right? Yeah. This pleasing form, right? The Bob going into Leland kind of thing. So it seemed like it was about like sexual abuse, and also in some ways about addiction.
Yeah.
And maybe you could even lump in like mental illness there, or some kind of something like that. But and I think that my working theory right now is that The Return is about cancer.
Oh. Interesting.
Because the log lady, and the actress who was playing the log lady was dying of cancer, and so I can't help that idea of cancer was on David Lynch's mind. And when we think of what cancer is now, I'm not a scientist, but in a way, isn't a cancer cell a doppelganger?
Yeah, it's your cell.
Right? It's your cell.
It's your cell
doing
over and
bad
over
things,
and over
right? Yeah, multiplying over and over and eventually like doing these bad things.
Right.
And so as I continue to watch, I'm going to continue to think about how this show is about cancer.
I like that. That's very nice. I like that a lot because it's an issue that the generation of actors is now dealing with instead of murder. And because as you get older, you're less likely to be murdered.
Yeah. And so
you're less likely to be,
and there's also different things
abused.
Things like the weird, like we've got this experiment box that a billionaire is trying to do, and we're trying to figure out,
this out.
What's going on.
Yeah. It's very scientific in a way.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And the setting isn't.
Sure.
The setting is more scientific.
This is a very half-baked idea of mine, and I also don't know what he's saying about cancer.
Yeah.
Yet, if he is saying anything, he's probably if he watches this video, he's like, no, that's not. I don't.
Oh my God, David Lynch watching our videos is like a dream come true.
Hi,
that would be
David
so
Lynch,
cool.
Thank you.
To be fair, that arm, he really do be looking like cancer, though.
Right. That new arm, the evolution.
He really do be looking like cancer.
The long lady.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about, I really enjoyed her performance.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really sweet, just watching her. She looks so small with that giant log.
The log looks really big.
The log
looks
huge.
And what I loved about the performances that we've seen of her is that they're not trying to disguise the fact that the actress is struggling with cancer.
They're just like
she still has I assume she actually needs the oxygen at that point. She's not wearing a wig or anything like that.
She's in comfortable clothes and she's moving really slow.
Yeah, and her words are so heartfelt as she's delivering this message. And I like the way Hawk is talking back to her.
Yeah.
I like the friendship that they have.
Yeah. And he stopped calling her the long lady too.
Yeah, he's calling her Margaret.
Margaret.
Yeah.
It's Margaret. And I think there is something to be said about like we do see cancer as evil. You know what I mean?
We do.
And disease in general.
Yeah.
It's evil. Even though it's...
But the funny thing
is... It's not like we're calling the person evil.
It seems like cancer is brings out the anger more than many other diseases.
Yeah. Because it's like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
It's yourself.
It's if I see people use profanity on social media, it's cancer, right? It's that kind of stuff. And there's other horrible, right? I'm not happy. I want to swear at Ebola or things like dementia and stuff like that. But I think there's something that's insidious about cancer because it's like we can't figure out how to stop it.
And I think I was going to bring it into with the guy who played Bob, Frank.
Oh, Frank Silva, who died of AIDS. Yeah,
who died of AIDS, which very similar feeling towards AIDS. I would say, at the time and now. Yeah, it's like, oh, you can't do anything. This sucks. You just kind of have to wait. And so I do feel like part of this is, they say, dedicated to at the end. Yeah.
It was dedicated to Frank Silva, the episode that we just watched.
So I do feel like it has something to do with trauma other than abuse.
Oh, what is Sarah Palmer doing?
She's just watching documentaries.
What kind of documentaries?
Okay, here's the thing. I was like, she's watching just documentaries of terrible, gruesome scenes with lions eating a gazelle or something. I don't know.
I was disturbed by it and the mirror reflections of it.
Yeah, and it is disturbing out of context. However, again, that's me. I'm like, oh my God, she's watching that in the middle of the night. It's like,
oh yeah, I do that.
I do that.
A lot of cigarette butts though.
Yeah, I don't do that. None of that. I don't drink tomato juice and vodka either, which was gross.
Maybe we'll do that next episode.
Tomato juice and vodka?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it.
Drinking.
Yum.
We need one drinking episode.
We do. Drink every time there's a donut. Although there has been
I haven't seen donuts.
There's been no donuts. That's sad.
I missed the donuts and the cherry pie.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they did talk about
it.
Pie.
Hawk promised that there'd be donuts and coffee.
But
we didn't see that though.
Margaret said that there was going to be pie.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
All right.
We talked about the first two episodes.
Oh my God.
Talk about the
we
first
made a whole episode ourselves.
Yes. So
anyways.
So as you can tell, we are wonderfully lost on this journey through Twin Peaks: The Return, and we couldn't be happier being lost in this weirdness. Absolutely. So if you have some theories,
put them down there.
Share your ideas in the comments, especially if you're new to watching, if you're watching along, because a lot of you probably watch this many, many times over. We'd love to know your expert theories, but we also want to know some more amateurish theories as well. So that's it for now. We will talk to you very soon.
Right.
Bye-bye.